Yeah.
A man could have his last 100, and if he loves you, you are really his heart. He'll give it to you and go make it tomorrow. Yeah. You don't gotta be rich. You gotta know he's just a grinder. Sometimes female be looking for the richest niggas, and that's why they sitting on 20 bodies in a year. Just get one nigga, he rocking with you, and you see he got some heart, and he's outside hustling every day. When he get there, he will take you up there.
I wish I had grandkids.
Why did you never have children?
My mother's husband was not my father. And when I started to look like my biological father, he started to beat me a little bit. I ran away at 12. I went to my biological father, and he didn't want me. And I prayed that day. I asked God to not let me make a baby if I couldn't be a father. And I'm 78 years old, and God has not let me make a baby, so I don't guess I can be a father. I was able to forgive my father before he died, and then I was able to forgive my stepdad before he passed.
And Jerry, that's why you're such a good father to everyone. Certainly the 5 of us sitting by you.
We love you.
We do love you.
I love you guys too.
I have never seen a woman make a broke man rich, but I've seen plenty of men make broke women rich. Do you think that we have a problem in society? We definitely do. We got many of them. But why is it that, like, a woman will never stay with a broke man, but a broke man has no problem, like, providing and building up a broke woman? Because the thing is like, nowadays, most broke women don't even think they're broke. They just think that they're dating the wrong man. But then they'll look at a guy who's, like, working 60 hours a week at a job that doesn't really pay that much, but he's doing his best, and she'll look at him and be like, that's broke boy energy. No, that's hubby energy, actually. That's husband material, actually. I feel like as women, we have such a, like, strong desire to be taken care of that we forget that, like, men are human beings, who sometimes need a little bit of grace and understanding, too. Thank you.
But just know, it get hot in that kitchen, boy. And everything may not work properly. But you still gotta cook. And guess what? People gonna be coming with plates out. And they gotta be fed. They gotta be fed. Whether you wanna go sit down and eat a plate yourself, and realize ain't nobody cook for you. You the chef, dog. Keep cooking.
Welcome to our 101 sessions with Men's Corner SA. These sessions will talk about men's mental health and issues that surround it, but we will dive deep into them, deconstruct them, and reconstruct with a solution to these problems. So let's check out this video from Dave Chappelle.
And then the next sucker came up to the table and was about to put his money down. And I said, fuck that, man. Don't put your money there. All these niggas is in on it. It's a trick. And when I said that, the guy that was dealing, and this motherfucker was huge, snatched me up by my collar. Feel how strong he was when he grabbed me. I was a skinny little guy. And he was gonna maul me. The only reason he didn't, I'm sure, is because he saw the fear in my face. And that fear, he looked at me. I saw his eyes go from hard to soft. He softened. Then he looked at me like the way a father would look at a child. And he said to me, young man, don't ever come between a man and his meal. I never forgot that either. Most niggas would have to run the streets for years to learn a lesson that profound. It took me 2 seconds. Never get between somebody and their paper. Taking a man's livelihood away from him is akin to killing him.
My goodness. My goodness. That is a human truth, man. That hits right here. Right here. Right here. Dave Chappelle really explored his skit work through a human truth, and it wasn't jokes, people did throw a laugh there and there, but I was looking deeper into the message that he was trying to share, which I had to write down notes, man. He said it 3 times, and within the third one, I realized that it is important for man to secure his livelihood. And I quote, "Don't ever come between a man and his meal. Never get between somebody and their paper. Taking a man's livelihood away from them is akin to killing him." So I hope it resonates deeper to you that your purpose as a man hinges on how much you produce, how much you can sustain, how much you can make for your own livelihood, for you to live on this world. You have to work hard for that. And that really resonates towards existence. What are you doing to live on this earth? What defines you to work and have something to live for? Because if you don't have that, let's say you're just born rich, there's no definition of who you are at times because you just received that wealth. You haven't made a mark. You haven't worked to a point where it has paid off and this is who you are. So this resonates a lot with me as a man and all men out there, that getting in between another man's meal is akin to killing him. And us as social creatures and people who live for the now don't realize it at times. We get swept away about things that go on, but thinking about that, it is do or die if you go in between a man and his meal. We are generally found as breadwinners as men, but nowadays the world is shifting, and it's shifting drastically. So let's find out more with more and more profound articles that will look deep into these situations of existence and what a man is supposed to do in the society. And I looked up in 3 critical articles that would, highlight this, perfectly summoned by Dave Chappelle, existence of a man in the workforce, or existence of man when it comes to labor. So Robert Whitley has 3 factors, because I read it and I'm summarizing it for you guys, has 3 factors that impact a man's mental health. Men are typically breadwinners in societal norms, and unemployment is a threat to their standard of living and quality of life. The second one, men tend to work unsociable hours, more hazardous, risky jobs that affect their mental and physical health. So when he says unsociable, meaning you're not surrounded by family, by friends while you are in that environment. Then the last factor, number 3, which is men receive purpose, meaning, and positive identity from their roles. Meanwhile, unemployed men receive negative views in the common society, so they are stigmatized. And guys, I encourage you, the link is below. Even though it's just an abstract, you have to get approval or access to that article. But I had to look at that abstract, and I'm glad that they done their research. They looked at why men are like this, and these 3 factors are true. As men, we are typical breadwinners. The society looks at us as the ones who are supposed to bring that dough, who's supposed to bring that money, who's supposed to bring the food, the groceries, everything. And this factor sometimes, traditionally back then, it was segmented. It was cemented as the reality that men are breadwinners. They come back from work, the wife is being the housewife, doing what she has to, taking care of the kids and the household stuff. Man just brings the money and they're surviving because of him. And nowadays we don't find that, we're going to explore further later on, but we don't find that mostly in society. And it's becoming a common issue. It's a silent common issue that we don't know about that much, but it is a threat to men if they don't have their livelihood. Men tend to work unsociable hours, so they go further into laboring. It is innate to them to work. Their body structures are like that. They've got testosterone and all of that. I'm just adding on top of this, guys. And they don't mind working those harsh jobs. You find a guy driving trucks that have hazardous signs that transport, especially logistics in terms of transportation or transit jobs, that you need to take a risk. Majority, and it could be 99.9% of miners are men. They go down there. It's dark, it's dirty, it's risky. You can lose your life. So that's a point of exploration to understand. Risky jobs, majority of them are taken by men. Security, what have you, and any other job that really has your life at risk. Then the third point, as I extrapolate, it's seeing a role of being employed as an identity to a man, but being unemployed strips away the identity, right? He's no more the usual person, the person who brings money, the person who dresses well, the person who shows his status through his work. It's a person who has nothing but being stigmatized. The only thing that they have is their title, which is a low life, a deadbeat dad, unemployed man, or whatever. I don't know what are the slur words or words that condescend men who don't work. I think there's a lot. I'll just put them around here. If not, you guys will give me some. So going to the next article, and don't forget that another article that I read. Don't forget that when we go to these emotional issues as men, not finding a job, we tend to release that frustration. Am I right or wrong? I guess you know where I'm going at with this. So with that frustration comes a lot of violence, unfortunately. GBV, IPV, which is intimate partner violence. What's the other one? LSV, which is long-term sexual violence. All these culminate from the frustration of not getting a job, but there's more to it. I'm not saying that not getting a job for a man is equivalent to everything when it comes to sexual violence, GBV, long-term or intimate partner violence issues. No. Some men are just messed up. Some men just need help because sadistically they want to do things to harm the ones who are quite defenseless and weaker. And yeah, that's a mental issue. And that's why I'm talking about men's health and trying to understand, if you don't have a job, what more can you do? And this is where we need to find out about emotional dysregulation. Yeah, I'm just gonna give you what it means now, as you can see on the screen. But literally, it's more of like reserved emotions that are not resolved, and in time they explode in a aggravated manner, and which is quite of a almost passive aggressive kind of situation. But we'll delve deep into it and find out more. And there was an article, before I go deeper into the other one, I think I'm going to touch on it sooner or later. But there was an article written by Champion Zarima, who talked about intimate partner relationships or intimate partner violence that are caused by issues of substance abuse and not having a job, and also providing for the family / your partner as well. So Zarima goes deeper by, at least when they look at the sample rate, which is eThekwini, particularly boys who are aged 16 to 24. I'm older than them. They look at why the psychology of a young boy is pressured to wealth and having that wealth to provide. And that pressure, if they don't have, because roughly so in that article, it talks about that they get 1,600 a month and they still need to take care of their spouse or their girlfriend. And that gives them so much pressure to a point they commit the intimate partner violence. It's quite interesting because at that young age, 16, I'm thinking about other things. I'm being a kid. Unless with generations, teenagers differ. But at that time, I was thinking about DBZ and anything that is related to being a boy at a young age. And if I think about it, at 16 to 24, of course, when you're in your 20s, you're thinking about making that bread and all that. Now you've got a girlfriend. Now you've got so much pressure. Probably your family sees you as a breadwinner now because they're stuck in poverty. So that article explores on that aspect of intimate partner violence. Why is it caused in these situations that are in communities that are unaware at times? So this is where we need to explore how can we mitigate those issues of intimate partner violence. And should boys continue to date at that young age and get pressurized to take care of their spouse or their girlfriend and their family? Can't they grow out and then get to a stage when they can get a job that does pay well? 1,600 is lunch money for many people out there with this economy. But where do we stand with these issues? But anyway, moving along, we were still talking about emotional dysregulation. An article written by Amanda DeSantis. And I've written down roughly 4 notes about this. So the first one, the experience men have with strong negative emotions and diminished masculinity. Oh, that's a nice one to touch. We'll get back to it. Let me just read the notes. This is the second one. Men are willing to express anger than vulnerable emotions. This is emotional dysregulation. Then number 3, men can be sexually abused, and there are less studies on men being abused compared to women. Boy sexual abuse, maltreatment, long sexual violence, or long time sexual violence leads to anger expression and emotional dysregulation. The last point, I did talk about this actually, which is eThekwini district. A study was conducted, young men ages from 16 to 24, on the intimate partner violence. It highlights the issue of economic hardship, which has an impact on intimate partner violence relationships during COVID-19 pandemic. So these points are okay. I did put that last point from Zarima's article, but it ties in actually. So Amanda DeSantis looks at DeSantis looks at the probability of not highlighting. It's not even a probability, it's a fact, but it is scarce in literature, men being abused sexually. There's a lot that's out there that men that showcase men being abused. And abuse, I've come to understand now, being in a relationship and having previous relationships, that physical abuse is not as dreadful as emotional abuse. Hear me out. Hear me out, man. Hear me out. And this is where women can agree with me. Physical abuse is not dreadful than emotional abuse. Reason being, emotional abuse have scars that are mental, and those mental scars can stay there lingering for a long time. I have no clue why it's there, but there is issues that are already in the study of mental or psychiatric or therapeutic studies that highlight, and I guess it's the most probable issue of mental trauma. We all go through it. Even soldiers that come from war, they've got PTSD and they can't, recollect who they are as human, but as a killing machine. Bars, my nigga, bars. Anyway, that in its own, it's true. Now, going to a relationship, it makes sense that majority, and I'm saying with my previous relationships, I understand women see mental abuse or emotional abuse way worse than physical abuse. I don't understand it because I know physical abuse, you can die. Literally, the guy can smack you over and over and believes that it's fine. You're a punching bag now, and then you'll be lifeless. I still don't get it when I hear women talk about it, but I understand that it does happen to a point where it scars you. When you go to the next relationship, that scar hasn't healed, and you cannot see yourself in a new, refreshed, renewed opportunity of being in a good relationship. So with the issue of men negatively getting abused, emotional abuse is there. Women can say, all right, aren't you man enough, or you talk too much like a woman, or you hit me, go ahead and hit me. I bet you can't because you're not man enough, or you're not hands-on, you're not a handy guy. What else? You're not good at what you're supposed to do. I thought you knew best. I thought you were smart. I thought you were a man. Those kind of attacks, verbal attacks, are emotional abuse. And you tend to find women who are robust with their demeanor, that they get in your face and they tell you, what you gonna do? Go ahead, hit me. And that is an abuse. That's like taunting the guy and telling him that, you're not man enough. I'm being a typical guy. I'll be like, it doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. That's not abuse for me. That's like, it is life. You get people that taunt you and tell you these things. But it is a factor. Because now we're in a time of emotionalism where every man and woman have to be taken care of like an egg. They have to be taken care of like a crystal ball. You don't want it to have cracks or anything, but that's how we are with this new emotionalism that is spread out in social media. And that's what I'm seeing right now. Social media is making everyone have a say to freedom of speech, at the same time relay their emotions, because you don't see them face to face and it's easy to post whatever you want. But your emotions are out there and it's easy to express yourself. So we're in that era. And with that in mind, we are allowing men to get emotional. And I don't know how is this going to help. And there is more of this whole shift as well, that men should cry, men should be, and this is where it gets to diminished masculinity. You want men to be feminine, so you want men to be more keen or more accustomed to women's expressions. And guys, I know the world has different views of who you want to be, how you want to be, how you want to be addressed. But I'm going to talk because this is a man's show, and whoever I harm, I apologize, but I'm getting through to many out there who are trying to understand these polar issues. A man normally doesn't have emotions. Women do, right? They're expressive. They're expressive. And I believe, it's a positive thing for women to be more expressive and emotional, because they de-stress when they talk to their friends, to their family, to their counterparts, to anyone in the workspace, and everyone, even their therapist. They release and vent out their frustrations. On the other hand, men are not emotional that much. They more logical, and that doesn't come with that benefit of expressing yourself, and it kills you like a silent poison or a silent assassin, but it's a slow poison actually. So now that you want to shift men to be in that space, which I can say it's okay, but there's a problem where it's not natural. Men would rather do something to be stress relief. I go to the gym most of the time, and that helps me. You saw that I've done videos about exercising or people who exercise, and I need to go back to that. And that's my muse, that's my escapism as a man. So masculinity is diminishing, and that is emotional dysregulation that's causing men to shift and be more violent, I guess. But hey guys, it's another point of view. There's many factors again. I'm not going to put it in one box, but I'm looking at it specifically to a man and his bread. Moving along. Men are willing to express their anger instead of their vulnerable emotions. And that's what I was saying as a golden thread, that men would take some frustration and bleed it out somewhere. And work does that for them. When they work, therapeutically they heal. When they're more craft-like. They finesse their anger into something constructive. And believe you me, it works. That's why when I've seen these memes all the way on social media, especially on my timeline on Facebook. Men, when they have a breakup, they don't go and get another girl. Some do. I'm not saying that all men do it, but there are men who are like, the heartache is too much. I'd rather lay low. And guess what they do? They hit the gym. I know you're going to be like, oh, Andrew Tate kind of thing. Dude, before Andrew Tate, I used to do that all the time, especially in my teenage years, especially at high school. Thank God there was a gym at my high school. And whether I am in shambles because my girlfriend dumped me because I'm not that, hands-on, I would hit the gym and be hands-on on the dumbbells, hands-on on the bars, hands-on on any machine that will define my muscle. And my chest popped out quick, and my friends were like, well done. Well the frick done. Well done. I was like, yeah, like, that sense of accomplishment. And that is what a man does to alleviate their frustration, to alleviate their stress. And now that we have a problem that men use violence in order to relieve themselves from that frustration is a no-no. But it is there. It's always in the statistics. So emotional dysregulation plays a huge role, and people aren't aware of that. We cannot look at a person and think that they're going through a tough time. They're unemployed, or they're going to get let go, or they don't have the means to take care of their family with the wage that they get monthly. So this matter needs to be explored and exploited. Media is supposed to take care of this. Media is supposed to dissect a man's mind. As you can see with Amanda DeSantis' work, she says there's not enough information about men being sexually abused, men being abused in society, and it's a norm that men are not supposed to be, well kept in terms of trauma from a previous relationship and all those things. And it's a silent killer for men. Depression. We don't know when, We don't know how, but they are going to kill themselves. And unfortunately, there's so much of what negativity is out there for men, to a point where we overlook these issues, these small and yet elusive issues that need to be brought into light before they become big. Because that's what happens. I realize with relationships, guys, it's another job. Small things. You left the washing line with clothes throughout the day. Why did you do that? You're not cleaning the living room. You're not washing the dishes. Oh my gosh, why are you doing this? Why aren't you brushing your teeth when you wake up? Small things in a relationship become the biggest issues that we face, to a point where it gets to a divorce if you're married. I ain't gonna touch on that because as much as I show these rings though, I ain't touching on that yet. But these small issues are not highlighted in the media space, where they try to ask, why do men do abuse? Why men commit such heinous things? And it's something that we need to investigate and exploit. Those who are in the social media sphere, please, men, speak and let us have a conversation and enlightenment towards our current mind shift. We're all in an emotionalism era, so let's express ourselves. I know we can't express ourselves, but let us use it in a logical manner to teach others. Young boys who are going to grow up knowing that I shall not hit a woman with my own frustration to be alleviated. No, I'd rather go to the gym. I'd rather speak to a fellow brother, a mentor, or watch these kind of videos that will tell me that this is not the way. This is the way that a man should be. Anyway, about the sexually abused part, now that I was just talking about giving information to boys, is that we don't see this big of a news headline. It is taboo. I'm not gonna be trying to give it a upper hand and showcase that it's always every day. It's always there. It's an everyday thing. No, it's kind of like taboo, but you guys will be the judge of it. If you have articles, run them through me and let me know. But boys can be sexually abused. It's not about the opposite sex. It could be a man abusing a boy, and we know that. The molester kids, and it will be all rounder of kids. It's like just boy and a girl. But what about the boy child? What happens when they grow up? What places foundation in their mind that this is okay? They've done this to me. Should I continue to do that? So with this article, it spans to that notion of, hey, boys can literally get aggressive, use that anger to sexually abuse a woman. There was a call, I remember, I think it was a radio station, whether it's 702, I'm not sure. This person says he was abused by an old lady. And I'm like, what? Older lady, actually. He was young. Probably she was 30 and he was like 15 or something like that. And he now has a problem. And this is rare, guys. It's rare, and probably it's not that rare. It's just that it's not highlighted. It's not in the news. It's not exploited. When a young boy is abused sexually and doesn't know what's going on, and then they get to a point where they get older, they get to find a person that they can have an intimate relationship, then there's a problem where they don't know how to do it. They're not sure if they're harming them. The guy was emotionally distressed when he was giving us his scenario, and it more of a flashback that was traumatic. And I said to him, like, I don't have this problem, but how many men do go through this kind of conundrum when they want to be intimate but they don't know what to do, and they get emotionally distorted to a point where then they feel useless because he's afraid that he's going to harm this girl, or there's a lot. His encounter with the old lady when he was young has messed up his psychological naturalness to interact with humans and engage to a point where they get intimate. And that is something that's rare, But probably it's not. It could be out there, but we don't know because there's a big highlighted issue of this GBV and it's femicide and all of that, and that's what it is. But we don't see the grassroots of the problem and not highlight that boys can be abused and they, express themselves because of this trauma into this long-term sexual violence, intimate partner violence, and gender-based violence. So, yeah, I should have just made another video about this, but these are the articles I've read. And now I'm going to the Bible verse because I was trying to link back to do not go between a man and his bread, right? So, but this is also part of the emotional dysregulation, is that wealth is your power. My man, your wealth is your superpower. And I remember Lincoln from the Echelon Society saying that your network is your wealth, right? So, or your net worth is your net work. Yeah, your net worth is your net work. Yeah. If you have that as a man, that they say it in Zulu. I don't know if it's an idiom or a way of saying things, but a man's strength is a man's wealth, basically. I disagree, because then wealth is like what you accumulate. I would say a man's strength, it's a man's potential. The wealth is the result, You can see just a little scrawny guy, but you know how smart he is, and then he can make an empire out of his brains. But anyway, that's another debate. So, when we know that your wealth is your superpower, what you produce as a man, whether it's this kind of stuff, like I have a studio, I have lights, I have camera, I have me to talk about these things, and I've acquired them through time. That's my superpower. I can make these videos to help young boys and men to be liberated and to be grounded as positive men in society. Now, with that power, there should be some understanding of how to acquire it and how important it is to you. You should realize how important it is to you. So I'm going to look at the Bible because it's the most simplistic way of explaining that this is your destiny as a man, to work until you die. And that's how, kind of negative it is in a way. We don't have to go to retirement, basically, as men. We should just work. And that's facts. Men can work. I don't know why men die early, but I guess that's how they are. I saw a video of John Cena that showcases his body movement. When he walks like an old man now because of his knees and his back.
Why does 48-year-old John Cena walk like a 70-year-old man? A shocking secret lies behind his sudden retirement. Recently, Cena completed his final WWE match, and in an interview, his walking posture attracted much attention. His walk was stiff and slow, with his body slightly hunched, just like a man over 70 years old. So what exactly caused this? Years of intense wrestling have severely damaged his body. Cena revealed he suffers from spinal inflammation. Repeatedly kneeling, crashing, jumping, and being restrained by opponents have dealt devastating blows to his lumbar spine and knees, and now he endures severe pain with almost every step. To relieve the pain, he can only walk hunched over for long periods. Additionally, to maintain muscle condition, he regularly injects steroids, which puts a tremendous burden on his heart. Therefore, when facing Cody Rhodes' attacks, he quickly succumbed. His wife in the audience was in tears because she knew better than anyone that after this match, Cena's body could.
And this is throughout his wrestling career that has, tarnished his body or has bashed his body to a point where he is in that state. So man would walk to a point where they literally, dilapidate their body or make it very tough to live forward into your life when you get older. And this is where it comes to the Bible itself, as it says. I'm reading the Genesis chapter 2 verse 15. which is where God was like, yo, this is what you're supposed to do. And that's it. He says, the Lord God took man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work and take care of it. He created the man to work. There's nothing else. He just created him to say, dude, you're not going to sit here and be a couch potato. You're going to work. Okay. Here's the last one. Then I'm done with the Bible. Probably people don't like the Bible, but to me, it is truth. It's like the air you breathe. It's factual that you need it to breathe, and this is what tells us, what happens in life. But I digress. I'm not converting people, but the message is clear as day. Genesis chapter 3 verse 17 says, okay, I'm just reading before the 17. I think it's 16, but to link, the ground is cursed, once they ate the apple. All your life, you will struggle to scratch a living from it. Yeah, you are gonna scratch a living from it. That's why Dave Chappelle said what he said and experienced what he did, which is never go in between a man and his meal. Never. It's akin to killing him. And this is factual. If you do not find a man who's not valuing his livelihood, that man is destroyed. He's dead. So when God tells us, I'm preaching, when God tells us, I put a man in the Garden of Eden. This is paradise, dude. I don't need to work, but no, I put you there to work. Nothing else. You were created to work, man. Now that you don't have work, might as be dead, because that's the main purpose you have. This is what I'm getting at, guys, as I conclude, and I want to take time to conclude about this. You are meant to work. Forget about getting popularity. Forget about getting and prestigious women in your life. Women are not the end all be all, but there is a study that has been conducted, especially with actually it's a therapist who has been getting his sessions with men, and men have a problem. These are two problems: money and women. I'm glad that I've made it sequentially like that. Money and women. Forget about women. Money is the most important thing for a man to make it. Let money be a tool, not the control of your life, basically. So women will come later on, because it is what it is. We're in a world where people are materialistic, and if you feel offended and you feel like you're not materialistic, but you feel this is offensive, but it's not to you. It's for those who really are not seeing the bigger picture until they see it later on when they wake up. Money is a tool. It mustn't control you. So men should understand, man. They should explore and expand their mind. Focus on yourself. And it's difficult because there's temptation. Beautiful things are out there. Diamond rings, Gucci bags, what else? Beautiful fast cars, your vrpa that you want to drive. These things are predominantly materialistic, and they age, and they don't last. Some they do, like a Toyota, but it's still materialistic. It doesn't mean that once you acquire it, life is accomplished. No. Focus on producing more and learn how to use money. Learn how to understand what money does for you, not it doing the controlling, right? So anyway, as I get to the conclusion, self-actualization. I mentioned it with the mindset part of my the episode that I did with the one-on-one sessions. Mindset is a good exploration of that of understanding where you stand as an individual. I'm not looking at men specifically, but then we got a great solution. It was polar. What is it? Identity politics, but it stems from the mindset episode. So identity politics, we looked at What is it? Why is it there? Of course, racism, classism, religion, all those things. All those spectrums that perpetuate identity politics. And then I came with a good solution, which is self-actualization. And again, I'm going to use it here. I'm using Kurt Goldstein's understanding of self-actualization, which I had it earlier on. But to me, it is the full realization of one's creative, intellectual, and social, political, or social potential through internal drive. Let me try it again. Self-actualization, it is the full realization of one's creativity, intellectual, and social potential through internal drive. What you have within you, you believe what you are, and you're creative, and you've acquired enough knowledge, and you understand your society and your surroundings. That is self-actualization in a nutshell. But understanding the environment, understanding who you are, and it goes back to your lineage. Where do you come from? I am a Zulu person, I'm a Xhosa person, I'm an American, I'm a Ukrainian, I'm Indian, I'm Asian, I'm Brazilian. And then you take steps back and trying to find out who you are and what you're supposed to do. Like, it's important to know your past so that you know where you're going. I like that statement. That statement is human truth. So self-actualization is about knowing you. And this is what I said in the Identity Politics episode, which is true throughout all. Define yourself and do not let the world define you. Again, it's golden. It's like the Bible itself. It's timeless. You just get it. If you don't, it will get you quite soon, because you will mature. I guess some people don't mature and they grow old and they die. I don't know. But you will mature and understand that the world must not define you. You should define yourself, and you should know where you're going. And focus on yourself first. Find yourself, and then find what you're supposed to do. After that, the rest is easy for you. But as I'm concluding with a man's wealth is his superpower, we should understand, as I highlight these points that are very important, men are not heard when they are going through emotional dysregulation. That is a term that we should be always talking about. Even the boy child, ask him, what are you going through? Are you okay? What are you suppressing? Because that's how men are taught to be, not fighters. They're taught to refrain from, expressing their anger. And verbally, I fail at that. But physically, majority of men, when they grow up in a household that has sort of direction and order, they are taught not to use their power against women, against anyone, even young ones below their age, and in general, And we do not go further to teach them that they should not suppress too much anger, but talk about it and say what is going on in their lives. And being a kid and knowing that you used to cry to mom, you'd express yourself that way. Now we need that expression. And it's sad, if mom is not around, who's gonna help you? Who's gonna, take care of that emotional dysregulation? Who's gonna mitigate it and then uplift you and your potential? Now that's a problem. But as a lone wolf, as a fellow lone wolf, and an introvert, or ex-introvert now, because I'm an ambivert, I'm just there and there, and an empath, I understand that working on yourself is more important, and getting more time for yourself is very precious. And find those people who can understand, who can relate, who can give you information when you express your problems about your emotional dysregulation. what you're suppressing, what you cannot control, but you're just pushing it on the side. And you're not alone. We're in this together. We all just need to talk to one another. And by all means, send me a comment and make sure that you at least vent out. I'm not that kind of person who can spread people's issues out there. But we're human though. Probably I can. But in general, as an empath, I don't. And I'd rather redirect you. Hence why every time I post a video, there's a number down there, probably even a link to mental health issues that you can call and find help. And I know it's not man enough, because you can handle it by yourself. Men don't like therapy. I know that. But if you see yourself going through this now, as I've elaborated about your intimate partner violence, your long-term issues of mental health that you cannot fix by yourself, call a person, talk to someone, and that will help you a lot. Because we're in a time of emotionalism, and guys, we need to take care of each other that way. There was a video about men have flipped the script. Actually, men do not approach women.
What is going on in my life where I don't have a man?
Like, am I not as attractive as I thought I am? Am I looking old? Am I intimidating? Like, what is it?
Every day I go out looking adorable, tits bouncing, skin glistening, and yet nobody ever hits on me or approaches me. Ever.
So am I like the only woman that no longer gets approached by men?
What happened to masculinity? What happened to chivalry? What happened to men courting women? What happened to that?
It didn't happen overnight. The silence you see today, it started years ago. Piece by piece, decade by decade, the rules shifted. What used to be normal became risky.
Men flip the script, eh? Women are not approached and all that. And that's concerning, man. It's now getting to a point where if men don't approach women, you know, because this is another thing. It still ties to men. Your wealth is your superpower. It's your existence. It's what you are meant to do. You're supposed to work. Then it goes to show women want that 1% man, and they can't get that 1% man because there's a few of them. It's probably they got many wives or they are taken. And now a man who's still establishing, hence why I'm getting this pattern of men who are in their 40s who date younger women because they've acquired their wealth. 40 is where you are established now. 30 is still building, 20 is still playing around and trying to understand what is money. And your teenage years, of course, you're under your parents' care. So yeah, when men flip the script like this, it's bad, you know. They're looking for inner peace now. They just don't want anything like that. So women out there, if you're watching the show, please be kind to a brother. You know, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Be kind to a brother. And understand their psyche now. They're just logical creatures. Simple. You know, they want peace. That's all. But anyway, it is what it is. If they flip the script and women don't tend to get men who approach them, then I guess women have to do the job. Organchan. Yeah, I'm just kidding, yo. If you want chivalry, yeah, just pray for it. I just read 2 scriptures today, so it's the first time I do it in the show. So anything is possible, guys. Yeah. But anyway, the concerning part, the serious part about this, where men do not approach women and men start to acquire wealth because it's their superpower and they focus on themselves. As I said, when they have a heartbreak like I did, I went to the gym. I had to be crafty and make something out of nothing, you know. And if men tend to be more independent and comfortable in that for long term, we have a problem. Where them kids gonna come from? Population will it grow or decrease? It's happening already in Japan, in Korea, South Korea. They're having issues. The birth rate is getting to a critical issue. It will soon be a critical issue. I think 2030 something, you'll see the impacts of the birth rates declining. So this is a big problem, and let alone men not having the power to acquire wealth. But the problem would be nuclear families that are, naturally heterosexual and simple, that they have kids. But hey, that's beyond us, right? So, Men's Corner, Lapo's Corner, guys, let me know about your thoughts about this topic. What Dave Chappelle said in the beginning, never go in between a man and his meal. Never. What do you think about that, guys? Let me know, and let's have a conversation. Sooner or later, I might go live and we can revisit this, because this is very important. I've realized, just to expand more on this, women work more, but their sense of completeness is having a child. I don't know, most of them will tell me no, or some of them will tell me, nah, that's not our purpose. But believe you me, it is your nature. It's innate. It's in you. When you see a child, you're like, oh, I wish I can have one. It's simple. To you, it comes simple. And what about men having a child? No, not really. I'm still a mama's boy. I look at my mom, like, oh, my mom, thank you. And men don't, or fathers don't get that appreciation, like, oh my gosh, probably with their daughters, but still, it's not like they have a sense of accomplishment or a sense of purpose, and this is where I've realized that man's existence and purpose is to work. And hence why you'll see a man or a father who's working 3 jobs. What is his motivation? I can't do that. His motivation is his kids, but his purpose is to work to make a living. Those are my thoughts, guys. My final thoughts there. If I offended people, I skis. But let's have a conversation, guys. Let's roll the snowball of conversation and have a lot of people agreeing to disagree, but finding common ground on these things. And men should speak out, guys. Let's speak out. With the series that I've made, Entrepreneurship, I've realized that your wealth is your superpower, and you should accumulate it, and you should be driven by it to acquire that status of a man. And men are stigmatized if they don't work, right? Because it's their superpower, it's their existence. And if you don't feel like that's not the truth, guys, let me know. Let's find out. This world is big, and there's so many solutions to all these problems that we have. But we can fix them one step at a time, right? Some of them, they take time. So, yeah, this is Blue Slew. Thank you for listening and watching. There's more to come, of course. And let's keep it real, guys. Men's Corner, Lapa's Corner. We should keep it real. No abusing women here. We are men of integrity, men of honor, men that protect the family and the society. And anyone who's weak, especially boys, especially little girls, especially the women, no matter who, whether they are ratchet, whether they are nasty, whatever, you have that responsibility to take care of them. And that's Man's Corner SA. Till next time, Blue Slew.